All right, Facebook meeting is, our meeting is now streaming live.
It's getting there. It's taking a long time.
Just make sure that the, when you do the Hot 101 meeting is, our meeting is now streaming live.
It's getting there.
Oh, we're getting some
Hold
reverb.
sound on that. Hold on the sound on that. Hang on one sec. Okay, we are on.
Generate the Star Trek sounds.
That. Oh, geez. Yeah. Where'd you go? Where'd they go? I hate that that button doesn't work. Really hate that that button doesn't work.
Which button?
There's an Apple thing. It's an I've never seen any other computer do it. There's an Apple thing. It's usually one of the function keys that you tap it, and whatever windows you have will spread out so you can see all of them. So that if you have a window buried behind another window, you will see them all. And
in like a gallery view.
In like a gallery, yes, exactly. And this keyboard has keys for it, but the Mac simply isn't recognizing it.
It has to be a setting in the Mac then.
Probably. And now I was trying actually to figure that out last night. Oh geez, the voice. Okay. Let me delete these.
Let me see if I could find that function for you.
I was trying last night in the system preferences to find a way to assign it to a key, and I couldn't find that. What do YouTube? Let's see if I can. I want to see if I can play this out of here. I want to see if I can play this out of here today, George. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. No. I just might play that today. So a couple minutes. Okay, so we are on Facebook. Now, do I want to share it from here? Crap. What's that page? Hang on. Oh, where's that list? Yes. Yes. With me. Keyboard. Stop that. Might be able to share from here. Man, alive, my head's killing me. Share. Copy. Wow. Takes a while. All right, so what we're doing now, no idea if anybody's watching, to be honest. We are sharing to our national outlets. So whoever, if anybody's with us, and you might be, scrolling to see if anybody is with us. Anybody who might be watching, it's sharing time. I don't believe anybody's there, but if you are, thank you. And it is sharing to national outlet time, which is what we're doing. So, you know, that's what it is. Some new tech this week, kids. If I knew how to turn the camera on it, I would show it to you all, but I do not. Let's see. Okay. So, this is going relatively well, George. Kind of surprised, to be honest. Let's see. Doing everything on one computer. Can you imagine? Look at the craziness going on here. Doing everything on one computer. I'm definitely assigning you a task, though. This operating system, I think, is a problem. George?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm just, I'm trying to research your gallery view, troubleshooting problem for the iMac. It probably is the operating system.
I
So
agree.
we'll have to upgrade it.
They're going to have to, yeah. Even if we have to do it in stages, like you had said. Sure.
Well, if you can get an external drive, I could just throw everything to the external, like I could back it up and then we'll wipe it and then we'll put the new operating system back on and throw everything back onto it.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, because it's maybe. I have to, it won't do it that way. Crap. I have to do that on the iPad. I have to do that bit on the iPad. You serious? Really? Yeah, the app is easier. All right, I gotta get. I have to run and get the iPad. The iPad will allow me to share to the groups. When it gives you the option to share to group, I can just tap share, 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 share all the way down. This will not allow me to do that. So let me go run and get the iPad. Because that is just a level of annoyance I'm not willing to go through. Be right back. Where are we at? 4:49. We're good. Thank God. Yeah, I'm gonna. Just to keep those two out if they get nosy. Three people live. Who's live? You crazy folks. We love you. So for our friends on Facebook, we started sharing very early today. The pre-show is going to be a bloody long one because we have a new piece of tech. I have a brand new computer here. Well, I shouldn't say brand new. It's a refurbished computer, which would have been a ridiculous amount of money under normal circumstances. But so we began sharing quite a bit early. And so I see that there are a few of you live, and I'm very happy about that. Thank you so much. But we are just, we're getting to it. We will be live on the radio very shortly. We started sharing very, very early tonight. Again, because of this new piece of tech that we, if you were around last night, you would have seen George and I having a silly time testing this new computer. Lots of new hardware here. And I'm using the wrong mouse. I now have two mouses on the, two mice or two mouses? I'm not sure about that one. I have two mices on the desk. I have I've got this grand new computer. It's properly large. So we started sharing quite a bit early today, just to make sure that everything was working. We tested last night for, oh my goodness, 2 hours, I think, or more, and worked our way through some bugs. So we had to start early today just to make sure that none of those bugs came up and bit us in the bum today. So we're quite early. Just hang in there. According to my computers, I now have 3 in front of me. It's 4:56, almost 4:57. We will be with you shortly. Before we'll say hello to Hot 101 in about 3 to 4 minutes, and then we will be off and running. So for anyone who is already here, thank you. And I know that it's who just texted me? Oh, geez, you did. Why did it come up as a number? Why did your text come to me in a phone number on these other screens and not your name? It's very strange. Anyway, yes, it is a little bit of Bruce Wayne. It does look like the Batcave in here. So for anybody who's out there, just hang with us. We're about 3 minutes away from the start. And boy, that is bright. I mean, it is a damn big screen. My goodness. And I remembered to forward the phone. Remembered to turn the ringer off. I don't know where France is. Oh, Yep, you're right. You could say that, George. Just say it. Here you are, sir. About 2 to 3 minutes. Already got a like. It's nice. Feels good. If we could just get rid of this headache, it'd be even better. Oh my God. Oh my goodness, this stuff tastes terrible. Oh man. Okay. I do look like I'm looking up at the camera. This is a freaking heavy computer too, by the way. See something here. Yep, that's how we're gonna have to do that. What are you doing? There you go. There you go. Almost like you know what you're doing. Okay, good. Oh goodness, playing with the headset, never a good thing. This close to airtime. Oh, 501. Hey, let's have at it. All right, here we go, George.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but not so doggone seasoned that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. But it's Kennedy, 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 for me. Kennedy,
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 Kennedy.
Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who'll bring the job a fresh new point of view. Well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. 'Cause it's Kennedy, 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 for me.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. And it's Kennedy, 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 for me.
Kennedy, Kennedy,
Kennedy,
Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair?
We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you cast your vote for Kennedy and a change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Greetings, one and all. Welcome, 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 welcome. From my humble second bedroom here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States on this planet Earth, the only one we have third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This is the Kennedy effect for the 25th. Yep. Just checking my calendar. The 25th of April, 2021. You might detect an somewhat lack of energy on my part. I apologize. I have what can only be described as a whopping migraine headache. Not the way I would normally begin a program, and not normally the kind of topic that I would discuss with you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I don't play one on TV. I don't play one on the radio. But my goodness, I have an absolutely whopping migraine headache. And it's not so much of a topic for discussion, I guess, or the best topic for discussion. But, if there's anybody out there listening who suffers with this, or with these, depending on how you look at it, with these migraines, or as a migraine sufferer, I would encourage you to contribute to the program. We always encourage you to contribute to the program through a variety of ways. The phones, the Twitter, the live chat, which is going on currently on our Facebook page. But if this is something that you suffer with, I mean, honestly, join the discussion, because boy, it is debilitating. And it's, right now it's just right here. So this might be a very quick program. It's, we're nauseous, we're dizzy, the blurry vision, the whole nine. And, look, I'm not, it's not for sympathetic reasons that I bring that up. I'm just curious if anybody else out there suffers with this, and whether you have any good home remedies, homeopathic, he tried to say, anything like that. I would be happy to hear it, because boy, when you don't have health insurance, it's pretty hard to get a prescription. And that would be me. And so I've poured everything into my face today to try to get rid of this, and it just hasn't happened. So I'm just curious, it could be one of the side topics that we discussed today, one of the non-political things that we might happen to discuss today. But that said, let's get into it. I thank you all for being here. We have begun year 2, rather inauspiciously, since I don't feel well, and since this might be a very, very quick program, instead of the 3 to 4 hours we normally do. This one, at this point, we'll struggle to make one. But that said, it's the beginning of year 2, as you've seen, if you are watching on Facebook or watching any of the various places across Facebook. The title for today's program is quite simply that. We're beginning year 2. We have zero scheduled guests. So it is just you and me and George going through the program today. We will look back through the Facebook page at the week, sort of the week in review, as it were. What's been happening this week, what to look forward to this week, and wherever you're watching on Facebook, wherever. And we share the show today to about 83 different places, national pages and groups, local pages and groups, Commonwealth-wide pages and groups, and some groups in Arizona, groups in Vegas, groups in Washington, D.C., wherever you're watching. And if you are watching the recorded version of the program later in this week, and you're not with us live, we thank you for that too. If you are with us live, wherever you might be watching, we thank you. We appreciate it very, very much. Every single one of you matters to us. Every single one, whether you agree or not. And don't kid yourselves. There are self-identified Republicans and conservatives out there. They are watching and listening too. I don't hear from them nearly as much as I'd like. That would make for some very interesting radio, to be perfectly blunt. But I don't hear from them as much as I'd like. I wish I did. That said, wherever you're watching, stay there. Listen in the background. Watch while you're doing homework with the kids, getting ready for dinner, whatever it is you might be doing. That's awesome. However, if you would like to join the live chat, which happens every program, come to our home group Facebook page. And the title of that is right on your screen there, That Other Side of Information. Open the post, go to the comments section, and talk to us. To our sisters and brothers and friends and family at hot101.net, hello again. Welcome back. I actually managed to do some work, through the software that sends this program to Hot 101. So if you're on the app or the website, you actually might be seeing my name right now for what I think might be the first time. And also the phone number. You can now see the phone number on your screen, and you will know how to contact us, which I think is pretty cool. Yes, I think it's there. Yeah, I think it's there. So pretty cool stuff. That's awesome. So now all of you at hot101.net, if you are looked on your phones, on your laptops, your tablets, a smart speaker, however it is, if you can see the screen of the app, you will see my name, the name of the program, and the phone number to call us. And that phone number, by the way, is open straight out of the gate this week. No hesitations with the phone calls. It's you and us together this evening. So let's have a discussion. Phone line is open. Call us anytime. 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189. George and I were up to a ridiculous hour of the morning this morning. Really, I was going to say last night, but I guess you could say this morning, testing all of this out. This new piece of hardware, as it were, a very big Apple iMac, 27-inch Apple iMac. This is an enormous screen in front of me. It probably shouldn't be this close. It's probably not making my head any better. But it's here, and it seems to be working. Hopefully the picture that you're seeing of me is a lot clearer. As I monitored the show off to my right, it does look much clearer. So we're quite happy about that. But our friends and family at hot101.net, if you don't listen to hot101.net, you're really missing something. Some genuinely, truly, and I mean this sincerely, talented individuals that work there, that spin music for you all week long. And here on the weekends, you also get a chance to listen to Dr. Io on Wednesday evenings, and you get us on the weekends. And what is expected to be an expanded talk lineup coming as well. Some of the hosts born right out of this program. We're very proud about that. And a certain somebody is supposed to be returning to the airwaves as well. She was here last week. There's a secret there. So there's that. If you don't know how to listen to hot101.net, it's very, very simple. Go, the main website address is right in the name. It's hot101.net. If you have an Apple device, go to the Apple App Store. You will find an app for hot101.net. If you have an Android device, go to the Google Play Store and you will find an app for hot101.net. Or regardless of what kind of device you have, even if they are neither Apple or Android, you can get the TuneIn radio app. Go to the search bar, search for hot101.net, and you will find us there. And you can listen there. Where else can you get the program? Well, there's many, many ways to get the program. If you can't be with us live, always remember, please, our YouTube channel, which is called That Other Side of Information as well. YouTube has become our repository, our library for all recorded full-length versions of the program. YouTube.com/That Other Side of Information. Give us a like, give us a subscribe there, and you will know every time that we post. We are on Instagram at That Other Side of Information. I am on LinkedIn at Jeff Kennedy. We send this show there. Where am I? Patreon, That Other Side of Information. We have a subscriber, and hopefully she's listening. Hopefully she's with us and listening tonight. And of course, TikTok, That Other Side of Information, something I failed to do yet again. So if this was Catholic school, I would be getting a ruler across the knuckles, as I forgot to go to TikTok yet again. Not very good to have a thing that you don't use. Hard to promote the show when you don't use every method by which to do so. So shame on me. And finally, there is Twitter. Twitter.com/That Other Side of Information, or our Twitter handle, our direct Twitter handle is at That Kennedy Talk. Took me a minute. Froze. My brain absolutely froze. At That Kennedy Talk is our Twitter handle. You can hit us anytime during the program. You can live tweet to me directly during the program. It's interesting that my Twitter following is up to a whopping 31. Not exactly former President Obama, but we're climbing. I have one of those Twitter accounts that looks a little weird, sadly, because I follow more people than are following me, but kind of stinks, to be blunt. But eek. Well, it just is what it is. That said, let us get to what we want to get to today. And you're going to see me, I think you might see some things that look a little different. The way the depth to which I'm turning away from the screen and such things, it's a bit new. Again, we got some new tech here in the studio, in our home studio here, a whoppingly huge iMac. I mean, the thing, I've never seen it. Well, I have seen something like this, but usually in like high-end Manhattan, graphic design or special event planning offices. This thing it's 27 inches. It's the biggest computer monitor I've ever had. And so George and I were up very late testing everything last night, and we are, it seems to be working so far. I mean, George is checking everything in the background. It seems to be working. We had to move everything around, so everything's just a little discombobulated to a point. We're working it out. We're figuring it out about how to best ergonomically use everything and make everything work. The camera is now a little higher. I think I'm actually sort of looking up at it. It's just a little different. But it's important because we're trying to do everything that we possibly can to bring you the best possible program, the smoothest, the best listening experience, and the best viewing experience if you choose to view. And so that meant some new tech. So here we are. But I want to start today for as long as I can carry this, because my head is absolutely pounding. I want to start today with a very sobering fact. So Monday, I believe it was, brought us the verdict in the trial of former officer Chauvin. And he obviously was found guilty on all charges. And there's been a bit of a semantical argument about whether that was justice or not. And the argument against for the fact that it is justice being the fact that Mr. Floyd is still dead. And nothing is going to change that. And I agree. He certainly is still dead and gone and not coming back. And no verdict, no sentence, no monetary repercussions or restitution is ever going to change that. And perhaps the difference is, or the reason that I can look at it a bit differently is that I didn't grow up that way. I mean, you can see me. It doesn't get much more pale than this. I don't have the experience of growing up as a person of color in this country. I have folks who have tried to relay that experience to me and help me understand it. And I would like to think that I have understood it on a much deeper level, but I myself cannot speak to it because it hasn't happened to me. I don't have a first-hand knowledge of it. But I would hate to think that this is also not some form of justice all at the same time, because I do think it's significant that former officer Chauvin was convicted, because I'm not sure, you know, if Vegas was taking bets on it, I'm not sure you would have got very good odds that he would be convicted. So the fact that he was, for me, is not insignificant. Again, it won't return Mr. Floyd. That's, there's only, a few folks in history have come back from the dead if you read the New Testament, and Mr. Floyd is not going to be restored to us. But I don't think the conviction is insignificant. Maybe it's a turning of the tide. I hope so. I very much hope so. And that, for me, who is someone who is not routinely optimistic, I'm quite the pessimist. And generally speaking, on a day-to-day basis, I'm quite the pessimist. But I would like to think that maybe this is a beginning. Maybe we've turned the corner. Maybe after what is actually in matter of fact, by the number of folks who have marched and protested and the various nations around the earth that have witnessed it, the largest social movement in the history of the planet, the Black Lives Matter racial justice movement, which was really kicked off in a whole new level after Mr. Floyd's murder. The fact that there was a conviction at all makes me a tad bit hopeful. And I imagine if I grew up as a person of color, if I had grown up that way, perhaps I wouldn't be. Maybe it's easier for me to be hopeful and to be optimistic. And I'm saying that straight out. I'm saying it as honestly and as openly as I possibly can, that maybe it's easier for me to be optimistic because I never faced that type of adversity in the first place. So maybe it's easier for me to be optimistic. But I see a little glimmer of hope because the Black Lives Matter movement has not subsided. And there was a conviction in a case where there are rarely, if ever, convictions. That said, we also have to stare ourselves in the mirror and talk about another fact. Just since that conviction, just since then, 6 more people of color, including a 16-year-old female, have been killed by police just since the Chauvin verdict. 6 more killed by police. So even in the midst of what is sadly this glimmer of hope, 6 more shades of darkness are put on top of us. 6 more lives extinguished. And there are varying circumstances to each one of those, but none to me seem, from the reporting that I've read, seem justified. But I'm not a judge, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a district attorney, and I don't play one on the radio or TV. Seems to me that all of these cases will sort themselves out. Wrong thing, I'm clicking on the wrong mouse. That's very odd. I just watched the Google Voice do something funny, but yet it doesn't appear that anyone called. Weird. Okay. Even though I'm getting a message that you might be unable to make or receive calls over the internet. Why would that be? Check my internet settings. If my internet settings didn't work, we wouldn't be on the air right now. Oh, tech, I love you so. So in that vein, I wanted to play something for you. It's an old song and it's one of my favorites. And I guess on a day like today where my head is just exploding in pain and I don't have a lot. Well, I always have a lot to say. I never shut up. But I mean, I don't have as much to say as I would normally. You can tell I'm a little discombobulated and a little, disjointed, so to speak. But there's something in the wake of what is this glimmer of hope compared to these 6 more lives taken. It's an older song. This should work. Gosh, I hope this works. I would just like to play this and hopefully not get sued for playing it. That would be a bad thing too. And hopefully you can hear this and enjoy it, and we will come back right after. But while this might be an older song, the lyrics are nonetheless poignant and appropriate, I believe, for today's happenings, for today's circumstances.
Anybody here seen my old friend Abraham? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seemed good they die young. I just looked around and he's gone. Anybody here seen my old friend John? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seemed good they die young. I just looked around and he's gone. gone. Anybody here seen my old friend Martin? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seemed good they die young. I just look round and he's gone. Didn't you love the things that they stood for? Didn't they try to find some good for you and me? And we'll be free someday soon. He's gonna be one day. Anybody here see my old friend Bobby? Can you tell me where he's gone? I thought I saw him walking up over the hill with Abraham and Martin and John.
Ooh, I cut that off a little quick. Oh, stop. I just wanted to play that for you. I thought it was extremely appropriate. It's one of my saved favorites on in my Jeep. I'm very lucky, Sirius XM, and you can save certain artists and certain songs, and that's one of the songs that I've saved, and I thought it was extremely poignant this week, where we had this little bit of hope and 6 more lives taken all in the same week, all within actually a 5-day period. I believe it was a 5-day period. So we offer you that. That is Dion from 1968, I think it is. Abraham, Martin, and John. If you've not heard it before, I got it straight off of YouTube. Super easy to find. It appears that it has been a song widely searched in the last few weeks. And, I talk a lot on this program about how the answers to so many modern day problems are in our own past. The policies, the programs, the politics of the past. And that history, science, and data shows us that these policies would work again. And they are the remedies that we need. And then in a very similar vein, you find a song like that. And a song that is, oh goodness gracious, 68, 50 something years old, and yet still extremely pertinent, poignant, appropriate for today's times, troubling as they may be. 5:32 Eastern time here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of the United States, on this planet Earth, third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system. This is a rather low-key, low energy, I got to admit, Kennedy effect for the 25th of April, 2021. Wherever you are on Facebook, please come on over to our home Facebook page, That Other Side of Information, and join the chat. The chat has been absolutely just silent so far. Kind of surprising given the song I just played and the topic that we started the program with. But we are here. That Other Side of Information. Find the post that is showing the video of this program, click on it, enter the comments section, and chat with us. Twitter.com/that other side of information. The Twitter handle is @ThatKennedyTalk. You can tweet me live right now. I will see it. I'm looking forward to it. We want to interact with you. That is why we are here. We want to interact with you. And finally, if you can see right on the screen, at least I hope you can see on the screen, on my screen, I see it. On the Facebook feed, I do not see it, but that could be because I have the comments up. I'm not sure. The phone number is open. And we appreciate and encourage and look forward to anyone who wishes to ring us. The phone number is 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189. Get a quick hydration break. A rather inauspicious way to start our second year, I guarantee you. I apologize for the terrible energy of the program and the seeming lack of focus. If you have migraines, you know what's happening to me right now, and it's not pleasant, and it's not fun to listen to, probably on your end either. You might also notice too that I do many show announcements across Facebook to try to let you all know when we're coming back and what we'll be doing. Those announcements only went out this morning. I imagine that is why there's so few people in the chat. Because I was trying to get a guest, didn't get one. I hesitated on my show and getting my show announcements out there, waiting to hopefully inform you of a guest, and none came through. We do have guests scheduled for the weeks upcoming, discussing such things as school funding, the MoveOn.org Thrive Agenda, Veterans Affairs. We have people lined up, just none of them came through this week, so hence a very late show announcement, and hence probably why not too many people are in the live chat right now. But listen, we're here. Let's have at it. We'll go as long as I can stand this pain and not get sick, probably, which sounds terrible. It must make for really great listening on your end, but I'm just sorry, folks. It is what it is. It's one of those days. It's not a good health day. There is another thing I wanted to get to, and this is, I think, really important, and I'm hoping will stimulate some discussion here and will stimulate your interaction, because we want, encourage, and need your interactions. Several weeks ago, this article goes back to, I don't have a date. Oh God, where'd it go now? Oh, I lost it. Oh, that's fantastic. And of course I can't scroll. I had an article up that now I can't find. And the mouse is not working. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh my good Lord. Gotta be kidding me, right? Oh, for goodness sake. Let me try something. I'm sorry, folks. I had an article that I wanted to talk to you about there. I think we're getting back to it. I apologize. I had it up. I think I bumped something and it disappeared. What a terrible episode of the program this is. Oh my God. I feel terrible. And now I'm having, oh goodness. Where did you go? Where did you go? Where did you go? This is going to be where George is going to want to quit after this one. Wouldn't blame him. Here it is. Okay. Several weeks ago, I posted an article from Thom Hartmann. You all know how much I adore Thom Hartmann and, consider him quite the, obviously from a distance, he wouldn't know me if he tripped over me. But from quite a distance, consider him quite the mentor. And it's, I think it's extremely thought-provoking. And I probably already violated God knows how many copyright laws by playing the Dion song. And I suppose I can't, probably legally not supposed to read you this whole article either, and I won't. But I posted it after I heard Mr. Hartmann discuss it on his program because I thought it was thought-provoking in a way that not enough of us on any side, any spectrum, anywhere on the political spectrum are thinking about. I do happen to think that folks on the quote unquote left, Democrats, progressives, liberals, insert proper term here, do actually think about this much more than self-identified Republicans, because as you know, I have said on this program repeatedly, there are not a lot of real Republicans, but only people who have been told that they are Republicans and just seem to take what Fox News tells them and run with it rather than think about their own self-interest. And remember what self-interest really means. It is a 1% versus 99% argument, but when 99% of the people vote in their own self-interest, it then becomes the common interest. And that's what's important here. It's not selfish when the overwhelming majority of the people vote in their own self-interest, because we are way more alike than the 1%. Our interest as a collective is the greater self-interest, to form a more perfect union, to promote the general welfare. And in that vein, if you consider yourself conservative, Republican, I have a lot of other terms, this article comes to you as a matter of what I genuinely believe is thought provoking. And I will just take you through the first couple of paragraphs to try to stimulate this discussion, or what I hope will be a discussion. So let me do exactly that. And Mr. Hartmann writes this letter in the well, I gave that away, didn't I? Writes this article in the form of a letter, as you will now see. Dear Republican voter, if I had written it, I obviously didn't write it. If I had, it would say self-identified Republican voter, or supposed Republican voter, or Fox right-wing hate media bullied Republican voter. But anyway, let me get back to what Mr. Hartmann has written here. Dear Republican voter, when Ted Nugent, the NRA, and the GOP told you that more guns would make America a less violent society, what did you expect? Did you really think that suddenly every American would become a fast draw marksman and vigilante justice would take us back to some happy, more Wild West movie fantasy? When Trump said COVID was, quote unquote, just like the flu, at the same time he was telling Bob Woodward that it was a killer, what did you expect? When he pushed refusing to wear a mask as if it were some sort of declaration of masculinity, and openly encouraged states and cities to remain open to produce herd thinking, did you really believe that would keep 500,000 Americans from dying? When Trump sent thousands of modern day brown shirts to storm the US Capitol and try to kill then Vice President Mike Pence and Speaker Nancy Pelosi so Trump could become the nation's first strongman dictator, what did you expect? Did you believe that the American democracy was outdated and our country would run better if a billionaire oligarch and his cronies just took everything over, regardless of the will of the voters? When 5 Republican appointed justices on the U.S. Supreme Court in 2010, in the Citizens United decision, ruled that billionaires and big corporations secretly bribing, I would say owning, politicians was just quote unquote First Amendment protected free speech. What did you expect? Did you believe that was going to work out well for democracy in America? That it had in any other country ever? And this question, this article continues to go on asking question after question after question after question. And I could easily read all of them. It might violate some type of copyright, probably getting sued or something. But the article keeps going on. I've posted it on the page before. I noticed someone at a different page posted it today. I encourage you to find it and read it and just do it. It is extremely illuminating, but it brings us to a thought. It brings us to something that we need to think about. And that is, to our self-identified Republican brothers and sisters, what are you thinking? What is driving you? What philosophies, policies, motivations continue to allow you to vote against not only your own self-interest, but the self-interest of the nation as a whole? Is it your honest belief? And maybe it is. Is it your honest belief that if only 600 or so, I think it's about 660 now, billionaires have even more money, that is actually good for us as a nation, as a whole, as a populace? What's Christian about that? As the Republican Party likes to wrap itself in Christianity, its various faiths, except for Catholics, and the Bible itself, what's Christian about that? Is it your honest belief that if we just continue to pour trillions of tons of carbon into the atmosphere. And as we see ourselves entering a mass extinction event, let's just keep going? Is that the thinking? Let's just keep going? 96% of all the mammals alive on Earth are either humans or the animals that we keep as livestock for food. 96% on what is easily the most biodiverse little planet that we know of, and the only planet that we have. Is it your belief that not only is a $7.25 minimum wage too much, that any minimum wage is too much? Is that really your belief? When I see polls, political polls, asking a wide variety of people, for all the way from the most progressive to the most conservative, their opinions on certain policies, it consistently comes back to that these policies are popular and favored by majorities of Americans. Well, what would those be? You can't take a poll of thousands of people and not get a few Republicans in there. Republicans alone favor expanded background checks for gun purchases and closing the gun show purchase loophole by upwards of, the last I saw was 82%. Republicans favor raising taxes on rich people to pay for things like expanded health insurance for people who can't afford it, for infrastructure spending, to pay down debt. They believe in these things. Even a majority of Republicans believe that climate change is a thing. It's a real thing. And that something needs to be done about it. They may very well, and God knows it's their right to disagree on how, but they agree that it's an actual issue. And so as you keep voting, as these good folks, and look, these are our friends, they're our brothers, they're our sisters, they're our family members, as you keep voting against these things that polls show us you favor, what are you thinking? To be blunt, who the hell are you? How much is enough? When is enough enough? How can a vast swath of our population throughout the old Confederacy, Appalachia, the upper Midwest, these areas of the country that have become solidly, deeply red areas, but yet also are the states that take more money from the federal government than any other. They have the highest rates of poverty, of infant mortality, of maternal mortality, lack of educational outcomes, the taker states. Folks in these states will tell you they distrust the federal government. They don't want the government in their business. I don't want to pay taxes because poor people are going to take my money. And yet they continue to vote against their own self-interest and the self-interest of the country as a whole. How? How does this continue? What is the thought process behind it? Because I don't know. I don't know what it is. And I continue to not seemingly find anyone who does know. And at what point does this block of people decide or come to the realization, perhaps, that what we've been doing for 40 years doesn't work unless you are part of that 1%? It doesn't work. It doesn't work for the bottom 99%. How poor must you get? How desperate must you get? How sick must you get? How unable to afford the most basic things in life must you get before you finally come to the realization that this isn't working? Before you finally come to the realization that everything that Fox has been telling you doesn't work? That if only the Koch brothers had a few tens more billions of dollars, that you would somehow benefit. You haven't benefited for 40 plus years, and you're not going to. When do you wake up? And to a great extent, not because you are uneducated or stupid. I can only assume that part of it is a lack of thought, really concentrated, considered analyzations and thoughts, but also the use of the other. Well, you're not like those people. You don't look like them. They're trying to take things from you. Folks, when you speak to those Republican family members, don't be afraid to remind them that they're so worried about the other taking something from them, be it financial or social or the war on Christmas. So much of your livelihoods have already been taken from you. Except that instead of that money going down, so to speak, to the poorest among us, it's gone up. It's gone up. All the new wealth created since the year 2000 has gone to the top 1%. All of it. Nothing is being taken from you by people of color and poor people. It's being taken from you by the rich. Recently, President Biden, to pay for his infrastructure bill, has suggested raising taxes on anyone that makes over $400,000 a year. That would be the top 1%. And raising the corporate tax rate to 28%. Corporate tax rate is currently 21%. It has never been that low in the history of the country. Never. During the New Deal, there was a 50% corporate tax rate. And the top marginal tax rate was as high as 91%. We've done this before. We know how to fix this. and we can. We simply have to have the guts to do it. And we have to be able to talk to our Republican brothers and sisters and say, you're wrong. You're not wrong because you're stupid. You're not wrong because we don't like you. You're not wrong because we don't love you. You're not wrong because you're not family. You're wrong because you've been ill-informed, because you've been bludgeoned with these fake sets of facts. A phrase that in and of itself is anathema to truth. There's no such thing as a fake fact. It's either a fact or it isn't. Let us give you an example. Let me give you an example of handing money to rich people just so they can get more rich. Story I posted this morning on That Other Side of Information. It's our home group Facebook page for all things surrounding this program. It's always there 24/7. You will never miss a thing. You'll never miss a program. You'll never miss a story. Come to our home group Facebook page, be a member. From The Guardian, United Airlines received billions in COVID aid. Now thousands of workers are facing layoff. A year on, the $5 billion United Airlines received from the $2.2 trillion coronavirus aid relief and economic security, the CARES Act, has helped the airline hand back billions to shareholders and millions to executives. But for 2,500 United catering workers who struggled through the pandemic, it's a different story. The company is now weighing plans to outsource their jobs to a third-party contractor. The airline industry as a whole has received, not just United Airlines, but as a whole, has received enough government money that was intended to keep all of their employees employed. They have received what works out to a value per employee of $600,000 per employee. And here we have United Airlines looking to lay off or outsource 2,500 employees that they got $600,000 each to keep. So where is the money going? Folks, your money is not going down. It is not being taken by people of color and poor people. It's going up. It's going up to the wealthiest. Socialism for the rich, rugged individualism for the poor. This from a party whose largest efforts now, let me do this too, actually. It's 6:02 Eastern time. This is the Kennedy Effect for the 25th of April, 2021. My head continues to absolutely pound, so we will not be with you for too much longer, especially given the extreme lack of interaction going on in the chat and 0 phone calls so far. If you want to call the program, 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189. We will be here. I will go through a few more stories. If no one rings in or if the chat doesn't suddenly explode, then we will probably say goodbye to you. But that said, we are here. We want to hear from you. To our friends at hot101.net, thank you as always for being there. We've actually been able to enter some information now onto the apps where you can see my name, see the name of the program, see the phone number, and how you can be a part of the program. So if you have the hot101.net app open, just look at the screen and you know how to take part in the program. And we appreciate it if you do. We want to know that our hot101.net family is out there and listening. Hot101.net apps for Apple, for Android at the Google Play Store, and the TuneIn Radio app, which I believe works on every single type of phone and operating system. Go into the search bar and look for hot101.net. The phone line is open, 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189. My friends who consider yourselves Republicans, what policies is your party standing on? And don't say smaller government, because the largest expansion of government bureaucracy happened under George W. Bush. Don't say fiscal responsibility. The deficit, the Trump regime alone added over $5 trillion to the deficit in 4 years. In fact, I think it might be closer to 6. Don't tell me it's social issues. How many folks have resigned Congress over sexual allegations? How many wives did Trump have? So what is it? What drives you? And it's not necessarily to get you to agree with me, even though you would be wise to do so. It's to get you to think about the positions that you've been clinging on to. When my Republican friends tell me, well, my faith dictates to me, what part of your faith is the Republican Corporation upholding? I would say the only parts of scripture they're upholding are money changers at the temple. Not the overturning of the tables, but the creation of them. A party with real policies would not need to do what I'm about to read to you. Also posted this morning by me at our home Facebook page, That Other Side of Information, about a Republican lawyer who has become pretty much the point person for voter, not just voter suppression, but almost literally the ending of voting as we know it across the country. Last month, Mitchell was tapped by the libertarian Freedom Works. This is Freedom Works, by the way, is part of the Koch network. They are primarily, if not exclusively, sponsored by the Koch network. She was hired, this is about a Republican lawyer, hired to spearhead a $10 million drive in 7 key states, including Georgia, Arizona, and Michigan, among obviously 4 others, to change voting laws to curb potential but unproven election fraud, which many Democrats and legal experts view as aimed at limiting minority votes. It would seem to me a political party that has actual real policies to run on, with proven facts and data behind it to show that it's the right way to govern, that they're the right policies for the country, would not need to keep people from voting. It would seem to me that they would have a flood of people voting for them. They'd win every election if the policies were so perfectly proven. But yet the Republican base continues to shrink. So rather than develop new policies, better voter outreach, or better explanation of their current policies, because there are none, we'll go the opposite direction. we'll take our ball and go home. You can't vote. And you can't vote, and you can't vote, and you can't vote. Republicans are currently making a concerted, actual, real effort to turn voting in this country back to where it was before the Civil War. Middle-aged, white landowners. That's pretty much it. A party confident in its policies would never need such an effort. President Biden this week called upon the world to confront the climate crisis and overcome the existential crisis of our time. He unveiled an ambitious new pledge to slash U.S. planet heating emissions in half by the end of the decade. One has to wonder where the United States would be from an environmental point of view if President Carter's solar panels had just been allowed to remain on the White House. One of the very first things the Reagan administration did when it came to power was to remove those solar panels from the White House roof. Now, those solar panels in and of themselves were not going to solve the climate crisis, but they were a very powerful symbol and a beginning and a statement to the rest of the world that we needed to take this seriously, that we needed to get off of fossil fuels, and that as early, I guess you could say, as the late 1970s, solar panel technology existed. We could be using it now. But we haven't. And here we are to protect the profits of a handful of enormous fossil fuel companies. I am consistently astounded. You know, the folks that run these fossil fuel companies are supposed to be good business people. I almost said businessmen. And in fact, I think overwhelmingly they are white men. They're supposed to be business smart people. Yet there are now records released and out in the public. You can just do an internet search on them and find them, that Exxon knew as early as the late 1950s that global climate change was inevitable if we continued to dig and burn fossil fuels at the rates that we were doing it. So you would think that one of these brilliant business minds at Exxon would have taken a step back and said, if we start to change ourselves into a green energy company, we'll be ahead of the curve. We'll do it before everybody else, and we will dominate the green environment, green energy market. No, well, they didn't do that. Instead, they actively spent billions of dollars over these past 60 plus years to suppress climate science because it was more profitable, or at least in their opinion, was more profitable. How profitable would Exxon be now if it was the world's leading manufacturer of solar panels or lithium batteries or compressed hydrogen tanks for cars? Maybe they could have been the very first company to develop maglev trains. But they didn't. Instead, they decided to be lazy. And I'm not trying to suggest to you that they could have, or maybe even should have, tried to convert themselves to a green energy company overnight. They could have made a soft transition. They knew as early as the late 50s, early 60s, that global climate change was inevitable, that the climate was already changing. But instead of taking even 1% of their profits, gross or net, and beginning to transition themselves into a green energy company, they said, no, we have to hide this data. We have to hide the science. We have to suppress the science and protect our profits. We'll kill everybody on the planet and kill damn near everything on the planet, but we'll stay profitable. And yet, you self-identified Republicans continue to vote the way these folks tell you. It literally makes no sense. None. Are we not smarter than this? Are we not better than this? Do we not deserve more than this? Two 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189. A former guest on this program and my dear friend Hajir Al-Sheikh, and I'm saying that wrong. She's going to kill me because I just butchered her last name. I posted on that other side of information. She had an exclusive interview with Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, someone I've been trying to get in this program for 2 years now. She got him. I encourage you to watch it. And then I encourage you to contact the Lieutenant Governor and tell him to come here. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is championing something called the Civilian Climate Corps for Jobs and Justice Act. Does that sound familiar? Civilian Climate Corps, the CCC, a New Deal program. The Civilian Climate Corps for Jobs and Justice Act is imagined as a modernized version of FDR's Civilian Conservation Corps, part of the original New Deal. Starting in the depths of the Republican Great Depression in the 1930s, the 9-year program employed 3 million men. Yes, it was exclusively men back at that time, who planted billions of trees, fought forest fires, and built trails that you can still hike on in our national parks today. The bingo card is up. You can see it now. And one of the squares, first column, fourth one down. We have done this before. The Civilian Conservation Corps, reimagined as the Civilian Climate Corps. That's a big yes for me. That's a big yes. Not a small thing yesterday, President Biden became the first United States president to recognize the fact, the historical fact of the Armenian genocide. President Biden has become the first U.S. president to declare formal recognition of the Armenian genocide more than a century after the mass killings by Ottoman troops, now Turkey, and opening a rift between the new U.S. administration and Turkey. Quote, the American people honor all those Armenians who perished in the genocide that began 106 years ago today, the president said in a statement just yesterday, Saturday. Beginning on 24 April 1915 with the arrest of the Armenian intellectuals and community leaders in Constantinople, yes, it was still Constantinople then, by Ottoman authorities, now Turkey, 1.5 1.5 million Armenians were deported, massacred, or marched to their deaths in a campaign of extermination. The current Turkish regime is not much better. And some of their biggest employees and sympathizers are right here in the Lehigh Valley. And some of you know exactly to whom I reference. 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189. That other side of information on Facebook, Apple App Store, Google Play Store, Tuned In Radio app to listen to hot101.net, at that Kennedy Talk on Twitter. Just a few more before we say goodbye, which is probably going to be at the bottom of the hour as this head gets no better. President Biden has formed a commission to examine changes. I could make the argument modernization of the Supreme Court. But for some reason that I am missing, that I am some justification that I'm clearly unaware of, one of the folks that got appointed to this commission is a gentleman named Adam White, a law professor at George Mason University Law School and a contributor at the Federalist Society, yet another branch of the Koch network, not created by the Kochs, but now primarily funded by the Koch network, which has emerged as the Federalist Society, which has emerged as the most influential conservative body for selecting Republican judges, published several tweets about Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing in which he denigrated the accusations of sexual assault and accused Democrats of pursuing, quote, character assassination of Mr. Kavanaugh. Please keep in mind that Justice Kavanaugh was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt when he was originally nominated by Trump. I believe in between $400,000 and $500,000. Before his Senate hearings began, that debt disappeared. There has been no explanation as to who paid it. And yet, now Justice Kavanaugh rules on these cases with impunity, even though we have no idea who paid off that debt. We talk a lot about history on this program and how past actions can sometimes come back to haunt us, how past policies can save us and can work even in this modern era, but also sometimes how bad decisions from the past come back to haunt us. Honey from several regions of the United States shows traces of a radioactive element from nuclear testing that took place in the 1950s and 1960s, according to a new study. There has not been a nuclear test on U.S. soil in the contiguous 48. I want to say since the late 1950s. I could very well have that incorrect. I encourage you to do a DuckDuckGo search and figure that out and find out if I'm wrong. And please correct me if I am. Believe nuclear tests after the 50s were done on remote Pacific islands, destroying most of the islands, by the way. But even given the testing that was done in the American Southwest, New Mexico, primarily, that radiation remains in the honey produced by bees now, some 70 years later. These things do not happen in a vacuum. Excuse me, I apologize. These things do not happen in a vacuum. They do not happen out of nowhere. There are repercussions for these things. And George, before we go, I would give you the opportunity, if there are any articles you wanted to highlight before we say goodnight. I would say this, let me bring up this one while I give George a chance to think. The state of New Mexico is actually trying very hard to become less and less reliant on fossil fuels. Even though New Mexico itself is pretty solid red state, they are actually working to become less and less reliant on fossil fuels. New Mexico is a very ripe place for solar and wind. The fossil fuel companies are fighting every step of the way to stop that from happening. Now, this goes back to what I was speaking about before. If these companies were so damn smart from a business point of view, why are they not transitioning their companies? Why are they not trying to become the leading green energy technology companies on the face of the planet? Instead, they are ceding, giving way that ground to China. China is becoming the leading everything in green technology. They already lead the world in the production of solar panels and component parts for wind turbines. So I've started a new job 3 weeks ago. No, new full-time job 3 weeks ago. And I have been on the road a lot for it, driving a truck, delivering things. It's not the only thing that I'm doing, but it's been a large part of it. And I've learned a lot about Pennsylvania, to be honest. I've seen some places in Pennsylvania I've never been before. I've seen places I have not been to since I was a child. And one of the best things I've seen, and I really mean one of the very best things I've seen, is up north outside of Scranton, on a hilltop, a mountaintop, really. I shouldn't even say a hill. It's bigger than a hill. There's a series of wind turbines. I believe there's 8. I think it's 8. And they are in constant motion. And if I'm not mistaken, they are producing at least half of the power for that area. And yet I can go other places in that very same area and see lawn signs, what would look like campaign lawn signs, saying no more wind turbines. Now, the mountaintop itself has not been sheared off. It's not been flattened. The trees around it have not all been cut down. But standing on the very crest of this mountaintop range, really, are these 8, I think I have it right, 8 wind turbines in constant motion. Surely we are smart enough to know that this is a good thing. There are even new wind turbine designs that will protect birds. Unlike the propaganda you've heard out of Texas, designs that will never stop in cold and snow and ice. It seems such a simple solution, such a common sense solution. Are we not better than this? Are we not smarter than this? I believe that we are. We are smarter than to continually hand over money to these huge fossil fuel conglomerates. We are smart enough to literally save ourselves. Are we not smart enough to not boil our oceans and kill 90+% of all the living things on the planet? You know, when I was a kid, we used to always hear the kind of I guess allegory, it's probably not the right word for it, but we would hear the kind of almost like a weird kind of punchline that the only thing that was going to survive a nuclear war was going to be the cockroaches. And then there's the philosopher, was it Einstein himself? It may have been Einstein. I should look it up very quick. It may have been Einstein himself that said, you know, when asked how World War III would be fought, he said, I don't know, but I know that World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Surely we are smarter than to continue to destroy everything that keeps us alive. So, George, before we leave for the night, because my headache is getting no better, are there any articles that we put up this week at That Other Side of Information, anywhere from last Sunday night when we signed off all the way till now, or anything that you particularly posted, anything that took your particular attention, or anything that you think we deserve to, or that deserves further comment or anything like that? Throw the floor to you.
The Marjorie Taylor Greene, creation of a new, I guess, political caucus.
Yes,
That was, yeah.
You're right. This is okay. Let me get to that.
The
So
white
earlier-
supremacist group,
Correct. Yes, it is essentially. Yeah, it is. Let me see if I can find.
but it's going to be a legal white supremacist,
Well, right.
who-
It is. It is
um,
legalizing it. you
it'll
know.
be the,
What? Here it is. I got it. I found it. Thank you. I found it. Yep. 5 days ago, I put this up, and I must admit, it sparked a tremendous amount of commenting, largely by one person, but still comment, appropriate comments nonetheless. A group of ultra-conservative House Republicans, including Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene and others. Louis Gohmert is in there. There's a couple others off the top of my head. I can't remember. I think
Josh Hawley.
well, of course, Hawley. I think Gates might be in it as well, looking for anything else to, improve his image. They are discussing launching, and if they're discussing it, they're doing it. The America First Caucus. Included in the mission statement of this caucus, the protections of quote unquote Anglo-Saxon political traditions. Folks, what does that mean to you? If you're a person of color, what does that mean to you? Hell, even if you're not a person of color, if you're from the southern parts of Italy, Spain, the Baltic countries, what does that mean to you? And by the way, what are Anglo-Saxon political traditions? Medieval serfdom? The gallows? Burned at the stake? Divorce by murder? Tell me how Anne Boleyn felt about Anglo-Saxon political traditions, about how the Jewish populations of medieval Europe felt about Anglo-Saxon political traditions. Tell me how the serfs, how the indentured servants of medieval Europe felt about Anglo-Saxon political traditions. Tell me about how I guess you would call them native or indigenous peoples of Western Europe felt about the invading hordes of Anglo-Saxons felt.
I might have a question.
Sure.
If they're ultra conservative, does that mean they're ultra religious? And would it be a religious order? Like, would it be considered a religious order, and would they get a tax break if it's a religion? If they actually form it as a religion?
A political caucus in the House is not, I mean, I would assume that they're raising money, but it would be governed as political money, which they don't pay taxes on anyway. But I think it does speak to a larger point that this form of quote unquote ultra conservatism, and I wouldn't even give it such a antiseptic name, it's fascism.
Yeah, I know it's fascism. I understand.
It's oligarchical fascism. We are white. We are right. The rest of you can die along the way. It's nothing more complicated than that. You vote Democratic, we're going to strip everything we possibly can from you. You're an old person, white, black, of Asian descent, indigenous descent. You probably like Social Security. We don't want you to vote anymore. We want to take healthcare away from you. We can get you to die quicker. Women, go back home. The irony of a female representative doing this is almost inescapable. This is fascism. We have talked about it on the program before, folks. You truly don't know. If you haven't read up on it, you haven't studied, you truly don't know how close we came to the end of the democratic experiment, the small d democratic experiment, the big A American experiment on the 6th of January. And these folks are still trying to make that a reality. You all tell me, send me a message, send me a post, whatever you want to do. Tell me what an Anglo-Saxon political tradition is. I usually don't get this deep. I'd be stunned if Miss Green can even spell it, let alone know where the Anglo-Saxons came from or the history of it. What the hell is an Anglo-Saxon political tradition? What does that mean? Does it mean if you're British, maybe from the Nordic countries, pale, lily white like this, then you're good. If you're everybody else on earth, sorry. Depending on how far back into medieval European history you want to go, even the Germans, modern day Germans, because obviously Germany wasn't a country then, they were considered barbarians compared to what became the French and the Belgians and the English. The Germans were considered barbarians. The Eastern Europeans have always been considered a level below. So what does Anglo-Saxon mean? Does it mean invading Saxon hordes into the British Isles? Does it mean Viking hordes coming down south into the British Isles again, or into lowland Europe? What does it mean? Does it mean a small handful of people owning everything and the rest of us are serfs? That's what I think it means. The Republicans are a corporation now. They're not a functioning political party. and they haven't been probably since the Tea Party Revolution. They have made it their sole function to direct as much wealth to the top 1% as humanly possible, the same way that the employees of a company generate wealth for the owners and stockholders of a company. The stockholders of the Republican company are the top 1%. Their employees are the elected officials. And that's what this caucus is. Because we have no policies to present to you, no vision, no guidance, no leadership, no ideas, no policies. And for as much as I talk about using old policies in a modern time, they don't even have old policies to present to us that would still work today. So what do? Suppress, lie, divide, suppress, strip wealth. That's not leadership, it's feudalism. Keep large sections, majority population of the country from voting. That's fascism. The merger of corporate and state interests, the unbridled use of corporate power to further corporate aims, Mussolini's own definition himself. That's what this is. And you can try to look at it a lot of other different ways, but there is no other way to look at it. This moves out of commentary, political opinion about which this show is somewhat based into fact. There's no policy out of a caucus like this. How do we suppress? How do we divide? How do we strip? How do we enrich? This caucus will do nothing for jobs. It'll do nothing for people of color. It'll do nothing for the poor. It'll do nothing for seniors. It'll do nothing for veterans. It will do for themselves. Next time you have a discussion with that Republican wacky uncle of yours, ask him why a party, a supposed party, a former political party that believes in no government whatsoever wants to control it so damn bad. If you don't believe in government, why do you want to control it? Because that's how the people that own them get rich. That's what this caucus is about. Period. And I would venture to say that that's not even opinion. It sure as hell looks like fact to me. What else you got, George? Anything else popping up at you?
No, not really. I think
I
you
would
went
say
over
in a
most of it.
related story, though, let me add this before we get out of here. Much ado was made this week about Taylor Greene and Hawley's fundraising totals that they reported to the FEC this week. Millions, both of them. I believe Trader Greene was in the $3.5 million range, and Hawley, God only knows. This is from ProPublica. I will try, which I post from a decent bit. It's all investigative journalism. I highly recommend it. Two of the leading Republican firebrands in Congress touted big fundraising hauls as a show of grassroots support for their high-profile stands against accepting the 2020 election results. Both new financial disclosures show that Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri and Representative Marjorie Trader Greene of Georgia relied on an email marketing vendor that takes as much as 80 cents on the dollar. That means their headline-grabbing numbers were more the product of expensively soliciting hardcore Republicans than actual organic groundswell of far-reaching support. It means, well, let me continue just one more paragraph. Hawley and Green each reported raising more than $3 million, each of them now, in the first 3 months of 2021, an unusually large sum for freshman lawmakers. Hawley is in his first term, remember, according to new filings with the Federal Election Commission. That's more than the average House member raises in an entire 2-year cycle, according to data compiled by the Center for Responsive Politics. The tallies generated favorable press coverage for both, as they both seized on the numbers to claim a popular mandate. However, ProPublica tells us that 80% of that money went to the vendor that they hired to raise it. So I can't do that in my head, but 80% of, well, I've got a calculator in front of me. Let me see if we can figure that out. So 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 million. Why can't I do this math in my head, George? Times 0.80. 2.4 million of it went to the vendor. So what did each candidate come away with? About $600,000. If we use the 3 million number as an even number. The article says they raised more than that, over 3 million. But let's use 3 million for the sake of math. 2.4 million of it went to the vendor. Does it mean that these two have actual real support? Yeah, well, somebody was dumb enough to donate to them. And obviously didn't know that 80 cents of every dollar that they donated was going to a vendor. Does it mean that they have these large war chests of money now to spend? Not particularly. But the vendor made out great. And there's an F word for that. The merger of government and state interests, the use of government power to enrich corporate aims. There's an F word for that.
And all I know is $600,000 will buy like a lot of brown shirts. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's true. Of all sizes. Of all sizes. And that it's no different. Using your government office to enrich a fundraising company. There's a name for that. And it's not an app. There's a name for that. I believe that we're going to wrap up because this headache is not going away. I cannot stare at the screen anymore. I cannot stare at my studio lights anymore. I think I might feel well enough to actually eat something. I understand that that's a very short program, but there's been precious little engagement on the program anyway, so I don't think you guys are all missing all that much. There's been nothing happening in the chat. Shocker, no phone calls and no tweets. So why don't we just quit while we're ahead? Would be normally my apologies to you for a very short program. My health is just not allowing a very, very long program tonight. But here's the plan. As we stated earlier in the program, we have guests lined up for upcoming weeks. Simply have to figure out which week they are going to show up. They have committed to show up. I simply do not know which week each of them is coming. Among which my friend Christopher Cowderich will be talking about Veterans Affairs. Sandra Miller is from Education Voters of Pennsylvania to talk about education funding in the Commonwealth, charter schools, and all things surrounding education funding. And for those of you outside of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, even though she will be speaking on issues inside Pennsylvania, these issues matter to you because these same funding formulas and these same funding fights are happening literally around the country, and dare I even say around the globe. And we are also expecting representatives from moveon.org. to literally do a presentation for what they are calling their Thrive agenda. I don't even know entirely what it is, and I'm looking forward to the program just as much as you will be, and learning. I will be learning about that Thrive agenda right along with you. I would also like to add a couple of things. If you are a candidate anywhere in the United States, this guy is here to help you with speech writing, messaging, policy, fighting back against attacks on you, and so on and so on and so on. It is one of the hats that I wear as a profession. Contact me and or us through Facebook, Jeff Kennedy on Facebook. Email us, thatotherkennedy@gmail.com. Go to the Facebook page. You can contact us there. Tweet at me. Let me help you win. What was the other thing? I said two things, and now I forgot what the other thing is. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, on May 22nd, Kristen and I will be playing Joe and Mika again for Our Revolution and hosting an event focused on getting involved and getting inside the Democratic Party. How do you become an officer inside your local Democratic Party? Whether it's a precinct committee person all the way up to a municipal chairperson, a county chairperson, or might we even say a state chairperson or state executive board, your state committees, your county committees. We will be holding what is our hosting what is our second in a series of bi-monthly events. I think bi-monthly is the right term when you have it every other month. I think I got that right. On May 22nd, we will post information about it on our Facebook page, That Other Side of Information, and I will tweet it out. All are welcome. You will need to register for the event. It does not cost anything. We do ask for registration ahead of time so we can get a head count and make sure that the Zoom is capable of handling all that. But we will have guests. We will be having a round table discussion. It is not a lecture. There are some lecturing parts of it. There will be a slide presentation. There will be lots of information, but there will also be a roundtable discussion and an interactive Q&A discussion toward the end of the program. Now, the first program that we had in March was exactly that. We had a keynote from Larry Krasner, the District Attorney of Philadelphia. Our guests were Alex Khalil and Malcolm Kenyatta, candidates for the Pennsylvania United States House Senate. Sorry, I mixed all that up. To represent Pennsylvania in the United States Senate. They are candidates to represent us in the Senate. We had a nice video from John Fetterman. We have our feelers out for guests right now. Nobody's confirmed quite yet. But again, the discussion will focus. Oh, and then, well, the thing in March, I'm getting all over the place now. I really need to stop and end this. The pain is ridiculous. So we had that. We had an interactive Q&A discussion. And at the end of the formal program, we invited people to stick around and engage in a conversation. Ask me questions, ask Kristen questions, ask, sadly, our guests didn't stay that well. Actually, Alex Khalil did stay. She took questions, took questions from the so-called, senior folks of us at Our Revolution, Pennsylvania. We had a great discussion that carried on for another, I think it was 90 minutes after the formal program ended. And it was a really, really wonderful event. I was extremely energized by it. I was proud of it. And I believe with all my heart that this upcoming event on May 22 will be the same. You can be a part of it. Keep a lookout at That Other Side of Information. We will tell you and post and give you all the information, and I will continue to tell you about it as we move forward. So, George, do you have anything further? I would like to go to the top of the hour, but I'm literally empty brained.
No, I do not.
Well said. Well encapsulated. Pretty much sums up the program today. This one, I assure you, folks, is not going to be recorded and go to the Broadcasting Hall of Fame. I think that is safe to say. This one is not exactly going to the Hall of Fame. So before we leave you, let me leave you with a couple last thoughts. Maybe I might even make it to 7 o'clock. I mentioned last week, pretty sure I mentioned last week, that I have received my first Moderna COVID vaccination shot, my second being scheduled for not for another 2 weeks, I think it is.
May 8th, was it?
The 8th it is. Yeah. It's what is that? Another 2 weeks?
Yes,
I think it's 2
because
weeks.
mine's scheduled for the 5th.
Yeah. Something like that.
Right.
So, folks, Kristen and I went out last night like actual real adults. And one of our favorite places to eat. And they were allowed to be, according to Commonwealth of Pennsylvania guidelines, they were allowed to have 75% indoor eating capacity, and people were allowed to sit at the bar again. And I would say that it did not feel like they were held to 75%. The place felt and looked packed. And the point of me bringing that up is not to say whether that was right, smart, good, bad. It felt good. It felt good to sit there with her and have an adult beverage. This Irish guy had a Guinness and a Kilkenny cream, by the way. And just sit there and talk to each other and eat a little something with a packed place full of people. Like I said, they supposedly were at 75%. It felt like the place was packed. I could see where maybe there were still some tables missing. It did look like the walkways were a little wider than normal, but that's not even my point. The point is it felt good. Today, we were back in Center City to get coffee. The joint was packed with people. The streets were packed with people. The tables outside had people at them. We had a nice chat with the owner of Donegal Square, my favorite Irish store. It sells products, clothing, jewelry, even some food products from Ireland and Scotland, Wales and England. And, you know, he mentioned how we had a chat with him about how things are getting back to normal and how Music Fest will probably be happening in some capacity. Right now, they're talking about a modified amount of people, but then again, that's not till mid end of August. None of this happens. None of it. For all of the pent up, I guess you would say frustration. I don't even know if that's the right word, but all of the pent up energy, all of the pent up frustrations, we just want to get out. I want to go to the movies. I want to go get a beer. None of that happens if we don't get vaccinated. I do not have a microchip in me. I did not grow horns or a third arm. My hair was already white. I feel fine. Now, the second shot is supposed to kick you a bit worse. Maybe it will. But the sense of relief, the sense of calm, the sense that this thing is wrapping up. And I know it's too premature to even use that terminology, but the sense that we can see the end. I know that's an overused phrase, but we can see the end of this. We never get there if we don't get vaccinated. If you are hesitant about vaccinations, I beg you, please, for whatever my experience and Kristen's experience and George's experience, Lynn's experience, for whatever our experience can offer you. Please get vaccinated. Let's end this. And yeah, okay, maybe we need boosters, whatever. I'm happy to get it. Pump them in, because I want to go back. I want a fully open economy. I want to be able to go get a beer on the weekends. I want to be able to go back and visit my friends in Jersey and watch United at our pub. I want to go to the shore. I want to continue. I want to walk on the streets of Center City, Bethlehem, or even Philadelphia for that matter, or New York, and not have a mask on, and not be worried that the person next to me doesn't have one on. We never get back to that if we don't get vaccinated. So I beg you all, if you have the opportunity to get vaccinated, please, please do so. You will be fine. I remember sitting in the car, turning to Kristen, talking to her about how much I hate needles when the nurse said, "You're already done." Never felt it. I mean, literally didn't feel it. And of course, last but not least, please be kind to each other. Check in on your neighbors, especially the seniors. Make sure if they're still being very, very careful about going out, and they should be, especially if they haven't been vaccinated, they should still be careful about being out. See what you can do for them. Taking the garbage cans to the curb, visiting the grocery store, whatever it might be. Let's help each other. Let's rebuild the sense of community that we used to have in this country. That is it for us for this week. I know that's a short show, but this migraine is not getting any better. I do feel a little hungry, thank goodness. So maybe it will wane. But right now I cannot stare at the screen anymore. And so we will return next week. We will be live. I'm going to close the calendar a little too soon. May 2nd. It will be May the next time we chat. We will be into the 5th month of 2021. I have no idea, even in a pandemic state, where this year is going. It is flying by. I can hardly believe that it is May already, but that brings warmth, and I'm damn happy about it. So until we see you next week, keep an eye out for show announcements. To all of my friends, family, brothers, sisters at hot101.net, thank you for allowing us to be with you yet again. We shall return. We would not be on Hot 101 without DJ Lex and DJ Earl. For my associate technical producer, Lynn Dare, for my technical producer, George Dare, and for the woman who really made all of this possible, April Riddick, and of course for Kristen and myself, thank you for being with us. I apologize for the short program. I'd like to kind of apologize for no guests, but I'm trying like hell every single week to get them. Not sure what everybody's afraid of, but we will return next week. Until then, I beg you, please take care of yourselves and each other. Be kind to one another. Remember our home Facebook page, That Other Side of Information. It's always there, 24/7. New news stories every day. Things to stimulate your brain, to think about, stimulate conversation. You can always contact us through that page as well. The show might end, the live portion of the show might end, but our world that is the Kennedy Effect never stops. That Other Side of Information on Facebook, at That Kennedy Talk on Twitter, youtube.com/That Other Side of Information, Instagram, That Other Side of Information, Patreon, and TikTok, That Other Side of Information. So until next week, for everyone I mentioned, I appreciate you being here. I hope to feel better by next week. If I still have a headache next week, I got bigger problems, but we'll hope that we'll be better by then. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next week.